moving a little bit forward, so we're going to talk about polishing your online presence and why that is so important. My name is Cassandra Crawford Sigler, and I am one of the career coaches for the Center for Career Development and Professional Engagement at the University of Tulsa. Why this topic is so important, especially now, whenever we have gone into a new realm with things being virtual and online. Being online and virtual gets you more opportunities as you are easily found and you are the narrator of your own story. As I go through this presentation, if you think of questions that you want to ask, please make sure you put those in the comment box, but I ask that you maybe wait till the end of the presentation, be thinking about them as we go through, and that way I can answer them at the end of the presentation. So again, more technical difficulties. This is me. I'm Cassandra Crawford Sigler. I am one of the career coaches. My area of expertise is health sciences and pre-health professions. This is my contact information, ways that you can reach me. Wanted to give you a little bit of my background, just a little bit of fun facts about me and how I came to be at TU. Being a career coach is actually not my first health profession or my first career. I've been in health professions for a long time, but just a little fun fact, this is actually like my 5th career. So being in career services kind of is a culmination of what I've done all throughout my life, and being able to help people find what they want to do in their lives is like the most exciting thing that I truly have ever done. I enjoy working with students. I enjoy helping people find their passions. And doing all the things that I've ever done, working in professions, health professions, has helped me get to where I'm going today. So maybe having that first career may not be the last thing or the first thing that you're ever going to do. It's going to be, a path. A career is a path, a journey throughout your life. Why do I like being at TU? Well, hello, Rain Kane. Absolutely the best institution in the state of Oklahoma, maybe best institution in the United States. That's how I feel about it. Work with some amazing people, and I wouldn't have it any other way. I don't see myself going anywhere else. We've got the best students, we've got the best staff, and we've got the best faculty. That's why I love being a career coach at TU. I love helping people, and I love the people that I work with. So moving on, let's talk about what we're going to talk about today. You'll have to bear with me. The slides advance a little slowly. So we're going to talk about why you should have an online presence today. We're going to talk about building your personal brand. We're going to talk about telling the same story. It's going to allow you to have more opportunities as you are searching for not only jobs, but as you're searching for internships as a student, whether you're just starting out or whether you are in that home stretch where we're talking about being a junior or senior. All experiences are valuable. You're the narrator of your story, and you have to make sure that your story is consistent. The first thing that a recruiter is going to do is they're going to look at you and look you up. They have your resume in hand, and they're going to search for you. 94% of recruiters are going to search your social media profiles. They want to know about you above and beyond your resume. 30, they want to see the consistency and tell this and see what your story says. Another interesting fact is we all know how to use Google. Google helps us find things. Well, Google helps us find you as well. 30% of all Google searches are recruitment related. So they're looking at you to see what is out there about you. Another important thing to know is that employers also admitted that they're less likely to interview a candidate with no online presence. A lot of people are tempted to say, okay, I've been in college, I've been in here all this time, I have all this stuff on my social media, I'm just going to wipe it. I'm going to get rid of it all. That way there's nothing on there. Employers still want to know about you. So having an online presence is important, and we're going to talk about what a good online presence is versus what are some things that maybe we want to avoid here in just a little bit. But getting rid of everything is also not a good idea because they still want to know things about you. So having that online presence is super important. So how do you take that online presence and build a personal brand? What is a personal brand? What is that, and what are you going to do with it? Your personal brand is helping you tell who you are. Your personal brand is putting yourself out there so that whenever you are being searched by recruiters, when you are being searched for jobs or internships, you're being searchable. You can be found. It's the truth. You're not going to be able to get to the top of Google if you are not putting yourself out there. A personal brand is a manifestation of who you are. It's who you want to be. You have to be focused on what you want to put out there about you, being genuine, being consistent, telling your story about your professional side of what you're going to be. You're going to say how you want to make an impact, and you're also going to talk about the legacy that you are going to be leaving as a future professional. This is your professional brand. When I keep mentioning telling the same story, I kind of said this multiple times, it's extremely important. When you have more than one social media site, your story has to be consistent. So how this comes into play is recruiters are going to have your resume right off of the bat. So your resume has to tell the same story such as your LinkedIn profile. Your information has to be consistent across the board. Your online profile on LinkedIn should also match the information that you're going to put into Handshake. Handshake being the platform that we use here at TU to help students get jobs. Okay, all of that information has to be consistent so that recruiters can help you, that recruiters can find you, and that we can help you get jobs as career coaches here at TU. So some online resources that we're going to talk about that we want to promote and make sure that we utilize at TU. First of all, resumes. Even though that's not an online resource, it is like the #1 first resource that we use. Resumes are super important, and as a student at TU, you have the opportunity, and not only, I keep saying students, as a student, as an alumni, you have access to the Center for Career Development and Professional Engagement forever to utilize our resources for resume reviews, to be able to update those resumes and to make sure that they are the beginning of your story, so that whenever you go out and apply for internships, whenever you go out and apply for jobs, experiential learning, that they are telling your story for the position that you're applying for. Resumes are individualized for each position that you are going for, and we want to make sure that they tell your story and that they're targeted for the position that you're going for. We don't ever do a blanket resume. Then we're going to take that resume and we're going to put it into Handshake, the resource that we use at TU. You want to make sure Handshake is completely filled out. Well, why do we want to do that? Well, first of all, it's a resource that's accessible to you here at TU. And we have employers that utilize Handshake specifically for students and alumni here at TU, that they're going to be posting jobs wanting TU students. You want to add your resume and you want to make your profile public. Employers search specifically for students on this platform, so they're going to come looking for students on this platform and saying, I want these students, and if you aren't on there, then you're missing out on some opportunities. Next is LinkedIn. LinkedIn versus Handshake being specifically for TU, LinkedIn, universal platform. So why would you want to repeat what you've already done on Handshake? This is global. You want to put yourself out there and make even broader connections, because once you leave TU, you want to go out and say, okay, this is where I want to be, so how do I make connections? Some things that you can do on LinkedIn to make yourself searchable, to make yourself branded, to make yourself unique. First of all, customize your URL. Don't make yourself just a combination of whatever LinkedIn throws out there. Make your URL you. My URL is my name, Cassandra Crawford Sigler, as you saw just at the very front. That way people can find me instead of it being some combination of weird digits, numbers, and letters. You want to focus on your headline on LinkedIn. It needs to be specific towards what it is that you are a specialist in, because that's what employers and recruiters are going to see when they pull up your LinkedIn profile. It needs to be catchy and it needs to grab them. And furthermore, your LinkedIn profile needs to be filled out completely and you need a professional photo. Here's where it really makes a difference. Besides filling out your LinkedIn profile completely, get endorsements. How do you go about that? Having that expertise, having had that job, having had that internship, having those skills, make sure that people give you those props for those things that you're good at. And then in turn, you do the same for others. You give them props for what they're good at. Give people endorsements for the things that they have done well also. And then finally, make connections. Networking is so super important. You never know where that opportunity is going to come from. You can make connections with people that you have met at career fairs. You can make connections with people that you have had internship opportunities with, that you have done volunteering opportunities with, research opportunities with. All of these are opportunities to connect with on LinkedIn. And instead of just clicking, I want to connect with you, send them a personalized invite and remind them, hello, this is who I am, this is where I met you, and this is why I'd like to connect with you. Make it personal so that they remember who you are and build that connection, nurture that connection. Other connections that might be a good idea are the professionals that maybe your parents know. You never know what can come out of that. So I talked an awful lot about connections, talked about the resources, because those are super important whenever we're talking about building your online resources. Also want to talk about polishing your social media presence, because this is super important and this is something that's going to be checked by recruiters. Something that maybe not everybody knows is 70% of employers, also not just recruiters, but employers, check your social media accounts. And here's the shocking part is 57% of them often find contents that will prevent them from hiring candidates. So that's why looking at all of your social media profiles and looking at what we need to do with them is so important. So first and foremost, whatever social media you choose to use, you want to make sure that it's complete. Whether it's Handshake, whether it's LinkedIn, both of which I strongly encourage, you want to make sure that everything on there is complete and that it matches up, that your story is consistent. Here are a couple of examples of, and I know they're kind of hard to read, but of some social media profiles. You've got LinkedIn, Instagram, Pinterest, showing you how things should be filled out. So if you looked at LinkedIn, you want to make sure that you've got your name, you've got your logo, you've got your picture on there, and that you fill out all of everything that is on there. The summary is important. The headliner is important. You want to make sure that you fill everything that's out on there. Facebook, Twitter, Google+, etc. LinkedIn specifically, whenever we talk about LinkedIn, fill out every section. Don't forget to add in things like your work experience. Whenever we're talking about college, it's oftentimes that we're too busy in college to have a job. Classroom experience, things that you've done research-wise, those are important. Anytime that you've had the opportunity to volunteer and go out and be in the community, those things matter. Any accomplishments, any awards that you've had, all of those things are relevant. So make sure that you leverage your LinkedIn to your best and make sure that you put those things that are relevant on there. So for social media, quality matters over quantity. I like to joke with my own family members that less is more. Once you get out, it's really hard to keep up with a whole lot of social media accounts. So you definitely want to choose your social media accounts wisely. And when I was researching the other day, I was looking, technology truly is a key, and it's going to help us in this time where a lot of us are confined at home now, and you want to use it to your advantage. How is it going to help you reach your goals? So use it to support your goals and use it rather than letting it use you. That's the best advice that I can give you right now. Use it to set yourself up for success. Don't let it be a distraction. So let's talk a little bit about cleaning house. It's super important whenever you go back and look at your social media accounts that you want to delete anything that would be deemed inappropriate content, inappropriate photos. I tell the story often whenever I do presentations to students, when we talk about going out to internships, when we talk about going out to first jobs. It's super important to be mindful of what is on your social media. You would never post something on social media that you wouldn't say to, let's say, your grandmother, okay? Or even your great-grandmother. Keep social media light and proper. You don't ever blast or say anything negative about an employer, a boss, or your internship or your volunteer person. Those are things that you would not ever say on social media. You want to be mindful of the things that you even share on social media and avoid controversial topics. And absolutely, we don't share confidential information. Those are things that, again, when I mentioned earlier that our employers are looking at our social media, while we may have our settings on social media somewhat private, keep in mind someone may know you who knows your potential future employer. So you want to be as appropriate as possible on your social media and just not have that moment where you say something inappropriate about your employer. That's just not, don't put yourself in that situation. Finally, be engaging. You want to be engaging on social media. Since being a career coach at TU, I have seen absolutely some wonderful, engaging individuals on social media. And LinkedIn truly has been one of the most engaging places that I've seen. It is an amazing professional site where you can engage with some wonderful professionals in all different kinds of fields, whether you are interested in business, leadership, healthcare, pick your profession. You can find a group of individuals who is in it, and they will share amazing insight into the profession that you are headed into. You can comment on those posts, and you can just share those posts with other individuals, but you want to be engaging. Connect with influencers in the field that you're heading into. Learn to speak the language in the profession that you're heading into. Start working on professional sites now so that whenever you head out into your profession, you're one step ahead of the people who are not choosing to be present online. You want to be that person who's present online, who's connecting, engaging, and speaking the language. Every social media has a unique way to connect with influencers, whether they're using hashtags, whether they're participating in Facebook chats, Twitters, or you're commenting publicly on LinkedIn or sharing those posts, whatever it is. As you expand your network, it's more about your industry, it's more about your opportunities. You're likely to see increases on people looking at your profiles as well. So it's all about that opportunity and those connections. So it's pretty much the information that I have for you today. Wanted to share with you the contact information that I have for the career coaches in our offices. So you've got myself, Cassandra Crawford Sigler. Again, I am the career coach for health professions and pre-health profession students. Then you have Ms. Brooke Smart, who is the career coach for the arts and sciences students. And finally, Chris Wong, who is the career coach for engineering and natural sciences students. Those are our email addresses and our phone numbers. And finally, you can schedule appointments with us right now. We're still seeing students through Handshake, through your Handshake account, and we're taking appointments via phone. And we are doing virtual appointments where we will either Skype you or we will do Zoom appointments, which are working fantastically right now. So at this point in time, before I start taking questions, I just want to remind you of the services that we offer in our office. So we help students with career exploration and assessment. We're able to help students, and again, alumni, I don't want to leave that out, with resume and cover letter review. We do individual career coaching, internship and job search, interview preparation and mock interviews. Even right now, we can work on mock interviews with students, showing how students can do virtual job interviews. networking opportunities, mentoring assistance. We can help with employment statistics and salary information. And in this time right now, we're obviously hosting events that are virtual and online. So we're making sure to reach out to you and give you some kind of new opportunities to connect with us and make sure that we're providing you with information and resources. Make sure you follow us on social media. We're on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and now on YouTube. And so at this point in time, I'm going to take a look here in the live feed and see if I have any questions. But I just want to say again, thank you for your patience, and I appreciate you joining in today. So I have a question that was texted into me that said, what if I never had a job or experience working before? I'm not sure how to create my LinkedIn without these. So that's a really good question. So I would have to ask this individual another question, but you don't have to have job experience to be able to create your LinkedIn profile. You have to remember that not all students are going to have jobs. One example that I can give you with right now, that just came off the top of my head, let's say, if I have a student athlete, that is something that we can put on your LinkedIn profile and promote, because when you're an athlete, you have team building, you have group collaboration, you have leadership experience. When we work with all of our students, it's diving deep and looking at the experiences that you've had in college. What groups were you in? Were you part of a sorority? Were you part of a club? Did you volunteer somewhere? What experiences did you have in class, group projects? What were you a leader of? Any of these things are things that can be promoted on your resume and in LinkedIn. Going to college, you have all kinds of experiences that allow you to show how you have experience in multiple areas that employers are looking for. I hope that answered the question. And I just got another one saying, what is my best advice for standing out to employers when everything is online now? Well, honestly, that pretty much was what I was covering right now, is be engaging online. It's important for students to make their presence online known. Employers are not going to know you if you do not make your presence known and you do not connect and engage with them. Any student who has had that interest in a company needs to make those connections, and they need to follow up with them, and they need to start getting their presence known on Handshake and on LinkedIn. And you can't just put your profile out there. It's getting those connections. And another thing that I did not mention is using the university's amazing resource for UTulsa Connect, which is our resource where we can connect students with University of Tulsa alumni, so that not only can we have our online presence, but then we can have an online presence and connect students with mentors. So even though we're online right now, we have the ability to make those connections and help students start getting not only visual online, but making connections. And how do I follow up with employers that I met at career fairs? There are a couple of different ways that you can follow up with employers that you have met at career fairs. I would do this in a couple of different ways. LinkedIn is my first choice. I would definitely make a connection with them on LinkedIn, request to make that connection, but then follow that up with a personalized note on LinkedIn. And you want to say, I met you this way, and this is, why I'm wanting to connect with you. If you really made a genuine connection with them, if they're looking at you for an internship, you might also consider, sending them an email, post-interview, those kinds of things. But the first place you want to start is making a connection with them on LinkedIn for sure. All right, everybody. Again, I want to thank you for your patience today with the technical difficulties that we had, and I really appreciate you tuning in for this presentation. And I hope to see you soon on social media. Have a great afternoon.